Good morning, everybody. Welcome.
Good morning, Sue, and good morning, everyone.
It's wonderful to be with you again this Monday morning, right after Thanksgiving,
Cyber
um,
Monday.
Cyber Monday, after Black Friday. Yes, all that shopping stuff. Yeah, all that shopping stuff, and I have hardly even thought about what I'm buying for anybody yet. So like that's partly the retail side of Christmas, but also the true meaning of Christmas, the giving from our heart, and what we like to gift to people that will make them happy, as our God gifted to us and made us very happy.
Well, and the thing about that is, it's all about receiving too. You can't let pride or dignity stand in the way of receiving because sometimes you can't always do the giving and you feel, negative about that. But people get joy in giving to you. So your gift back to them could be true joy in the receiving of a gift. So it's hard to sometimes feel that way. It's not necessarily uh, about reciprocating gifts, it's reciprocating feeling and joy and gratefulness.
Right. Yeah, I agree 100%. It's not about receiving the gift, yeah, a physical gift, but like we were talking just before we started, the gift of just being together, the physical presence of being at church with church family, um, being with friends, being with people where you live.
Well, and like for grandparents, it's always hard to know what we need to get for our grandchildren. And our children's lives are so busy, they don't always give us all the clues we need to make that a meaningful gift. And so you're left kind of wondering whether it hit well or not. But I think when we get a gift from children or get a gift from grandchildren, it's about the joy on your face when you get it, the sincere, grateful, or gratitude of somebody thinking about what to get you or wanting to make you happy. Joy is a gift. I mean, if you can give it either by your demeanor or by being grateful, great gratitude brings great joy to others.
It does, and I I have a little Christmas tree that is just ornaments that my grandchildren made, and those are so very special. Two of them are made. They're those styrofoam balls that are covered with strips of duct tape. They're pretty, but you can get the decorated, the fancy duct tape now. Um, but anyway, like those were made with love from her heart and made just for her Mima, and that
Well,
they are very special.
I still have paper chains from when the kids were in
Yeah.
kindergarten and first grade, and they're falling apart, but I put them on the tree every year because I smile when I do that. And it's not the gift in the moment because year after year, that joy, that gift gives me joy. So, it's a smile on your face. It's the memories it brings. The memories are the gift.
That is for sure. And speaking of smiles on our face, yesterday morning worship was definitely one that put a smile on faces. There were so many components to the worship service, and everything just blended and flowed smoothly, and
I love his message. I loved the message, and I carried that home with me because as I was sitting there, I was thinking of all the things going on in our world today, and all it takes is us to love one another to bring about a different world. And you have to risk yourself whether you want to or not sometimes. And sometimes you get hurt, sometimes it brings great joy, sometimes the risk brings you something you never expected. But stepping out on faith, and we've talked about that before.
We have to have faith. We have to trust. We have to trust ourselves, I think, to take that step, to put ourselves out there and make make things a little better for somebody else. And that is one of the greatest gifts. So today, Debbie and I want to share with you all a little bit about the history of Chrismons. If you all have been at Independence First over the last, I'm going to say, maybe 30 years, you probably have seen Chrismons on the trees. They're decorations with Christian symbols, and they help us as Christians remember that Christmas is a celebration of Jesus's birthday. You know, it's not possible at this time of the year to notice beautiful decorations, not just at church, but everywhere. The poinsettias, Advent wreaths, especially when it's fully lit, the garland and the trees, and all the angels. And many of the decorations that we see at church aren't designed simply just for their beauty, but also for their deep theological meaning. And that directs our attention back to God, not just that it's pretty, but
And
they
there's
do have.
and there's been a recent debate about, people using Xmas instead of Christmas. And that's just so silly because within the Chrismons there's the symbol X. It doesn't mean canceling out Christmas. It's a symbol of Christian meaning within our church. It's not any There was never any intent to cancel Christ. So I kind of want to throw that out, that X has a symbolic meaning to us as Christians, and sometimes we don't always know that.
I agree. When I first saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, why are people doing that?
Hmm.
Yes.
But knowledge is good. And
Knowledge is good.
I wanted to point out a Bible verse this morning, Joshua 1, verse 9, and it says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." And it's just in a response to the fear we feel. If we carry Him with us where we go, then the burden is lighter and the fear is less, and you can love more freely without limitations. And I think sometimes, um, because we're afraid, we limit ourselves in our giving and in our receiving. We're afraid.
Well, and I think sometimes people are afraid just to share
Hmm.
because the fear of, am I right? Am I wrong? How will I be?
Will I be judged?
Will I be judged on what my thoughts and feelings are? And the openness of dialogue, especially that we've had. Well, when we were talked about when we finished decorating last week, and then yesterday when we were sitting around the tables visiting, it's such a casual, easy way to learn more about who our people are.
And when I watch I when I watch the interaction between people, and there are people in our congregation that I want to emulate, that love freely without reserve. And our district superintendent, I saw that quality in him. I see it in Pastor Lydia. I see it in many others, too many to name, and I want to be like that. And I have to work hard at that, and sometimes I fail.
And that's okay, because we don't we don't fall down. If we fail, we just move over a little bit and come right back.
Well, like that Bible verse from Joshua that says, Joshua 1:9 again, be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord God is with you wherever you go. And it's hard to remember those in those times where you struggle. It's hard to reach into your memory banks and bring that out instead of your fear. So you can carry that with you instead of the fear. And so I just it's overwhelming sometimes, the fear is. And I think there are so many gifted people in the congregation that don't speak out because of fear, or don't let us know how we can pray for them, how we can love them.
And they're so valuable.
Yes.
Each member, each person that's in worship, that comes into our church building, they are so valuable and so important to each one of us, because of what they have to share, what they give of themselves.
The smile from the smile when you're up front leading worship, or if you're up front doing whatever, and you look out on the congregation, there are those I search for, because they do bring unreserved joy to the moment. And I'd like to give a special shout out to Carrie, who does that every Sunday without
Yes, she
fail, and
does.
without thinking it through. She just brings happiness and joy with her when she enters the sanctuary.
And that's just Carrie. Carrie's been that
Yes.
way since I've known Carrie a long time.
Yes.
And that's who Carrie is, and we love her for that. So, Debbie, we were going to talk about the meaning of Christmas.
Probably should do that.
We probably should think about sharing that. Did you know about Christmas when you were growing up?
No, it was not part of my regular church experience. It wasn't until I was at my former church in Susanville. They had a 20-foot tree every year decorated with Chrismons made by the former UMW. And
Yes.
and the ones here at this church are just a little bit different, made differently, but they're equally beautiful. And you can tell the care and the love that went into those.
Yes. In fact, I was talking to several people trying to figure out when did we actually make those, and the best we can come come to an agreement on was approximately 30 years ago. Um, and I'm almost thinking that it was maybe longer than that. I'm thinking the mid 80s maybe. But anyway, I remember we worked on them as a group. Um, and there's a lot of them. There were a lot more of us in UMW at that time, but I remember all of the Sunday school classes, the women, we gathered up more than just the circles, because yes, it got to be quite a project, a large project. Um, and we would work on them together, and then we would take them home, sew on beads while we were watching TV or whatever, trying to take care of kids and keep the beads and the pins and the needles away from, you know, everybody that was interested in the shiny parts.
So
Uh,
they don't poke their sister or brother, you
that's
know.
but what a wonderful memory for those of us that helped make those. And almost every year since, they have been on trees someplace in the church. And I'm delighted that they're back at the altar, in front of the altar in the sanctuary again this year. Um, that, Chrismon is kind of an interesting word, but it's a combination of Christ and monogram. So it is that it's a monogram of Christ. And many of the symbols that are used in the Chrismons represent Christ, that and they have been used, the symbols have been used for over 2,000 years. In those days people couldn't read, so symbols were very, very important for them to communicate, um, sometimes in a way that other people wouldn't understand. So it wasn't just, I want to share with Debby, but it was like, I want Debby to know this, but I don't want the enemy to know, or I don't know how to say that, but
Well, back in the day, the church was underground a lot because
yes,
Jesus had a mission to continue for 3 years. It was something he was put on earth to do, and he was trying to make the most of his time with us so that he could leave us with instructions and a way to follow him, the breadcrumbs, so to speak.
right. And even the Christmas symbols are with us even after we take the trees down. They're in the church windows. If you look in the stained glass windows, of different churches, but there are symbols in the stained glass windows. There's symbols in the altar, the paraments, and artwork throughout the church. So we see it, and it helps, I think, with not doesn't have to be spoken word, but that visual reminder,
Or cue, so to speak, how
or the
you to
cue.
cue you to be better life, cue you to in the moment. You look up and you glance at that and you think, oh, I should be thinking about this, or I should be behaving in this way, or I want to behave in this way,
Right,
versus the obligation versus the desire. It instills a desire rather than an obligation.
right. And that makes it so much easier.
Yes. It's not a burden. It's a wanna. It's a I can't wait to do it.
And would you come with me and do this with me?
Yes.
I think that's very, very important. I was looking at some of my notes here. So let's talk a little bit about what some of the symbols that are on our trees. What do they mean? Um, how about the meaning of the lamp and the candle, Debbie? What do those mean? What do they represent?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I am not well versed in all the meanings of the chrismons. All I know is it's a symbol to me, calling me to live a Christ-like life. But I would be happy to hear from you what your research has revealed.
Well, I was pleasantly surprised when I was looking through this. Um, so the lamp and the candle, of the light of Jesus, the light of the world, the lamp unto my feet. And of course, you know what? That brought me to one of my favorite hymns, Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. When I feel afraid, think I've lost my way, still you're right there beside me. Nothing will I fear as long as you are near. Please be near me to the end. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. I will not forget your love for me, and yet my heart is wondering. Jesus, be my guide and hold me to your side. I will love you to the end. Thy lamp, thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path.
I think of the bridesmaids standing outside the door,
Yes,
and how some had oil and some ran out, and how if we don't plan, it's like planning to come to worship to refill your lamp, planning to attend a United Women in Faith meeting, planning to attend choir or to attend handbells. It's it's being filling our lamp every week with the connection, and like the service at the apartment complex, and also um, the dinner or the breakfast,
community breakfast.
because then we turn around because our lamps are full. We have uh, now we have enough to give to someone else.
That
We
light,
yes, we can
that
be a light.
that light shines then from us. And that's the whole purpose. Being a Christian, sharing God's love, sharing that light with others. Good morning, Carrie. I see that you have commented and said hi to us. And Scott, thank you for your information about the X being the first letter of the Greek alphabet, um, which is Christ in English. Yes, excellent. Um, so, Debbie, do you want to share just briefly so people will be ready for when we do the Christmas on the tree in the sanctuary, how that might look?
Well, I was thinking about that earlier as we started that, and we have reserved some of the Chrismons, and because they're not all on the trees, and people can probably tell that by some of the holes on the tree. And I think there's going to be a place in our service where we're going to invite people to come up and hang the rest of the Chrismons and or decorations on the Chrismon trees. And so I'm excited about sharing the light of Christ in that small way. Sometimes the small ways are the important ways. It may seem like a small thing or an inconvenience, but it's not. It's a blessing when you include others in the joy you feel.
Yes, and yes, I did notice that there were some holes in the tree in the decorations, and I thought, I wonder, do we need to rearrange those? Do we?
You didn't think
What's
they were
what's the
you didn't think they were quite so skimpy before, right?
right? But yes, it was like Pastor Lydia stirring the pot for stone soup, and it was brought great joy to me just watching the people as they brought their ingredients down the aisle to share and put in the pot, involving people.
And that's what I'm looking forward to with the Advent wreath this year. As we go forward through Advent, the lighting of the Advent candle each Sunday is such a part. I've remembered that from my childhood. And that to me is a very important symbol of how we are talking about the light of Christ and how we include others in the lighting of that.
And I think that I remember that too from I don't know how far back, but the lighting of the Advent wreath Well, I was pretty little because I was worried about the fire in the church. Um, you know, having having somebody that was lighting the candles that were really, and even at a young age, it was like they're not really tall enough. What if they knock that over?
Well, and your
So
parents are always telling you, don't touch matches.
don't
Please
touch
don't
them.
play with the fire. You could burn the house down. I mean, that fear was in me for I don't know how long before I was old, felt good enough to light a match.
Am I old enough to do this? Yeah.
It's scary. I don't think so. My mom put the fear of God in us about flame. We didn't have a fireplace growing up. So,
Oh,
we didn't
dear.
have that to work with, but it was like, but we did have gas stove tops. So, I mean, I was always amazed when you turn the knob and it would light up. And I
And
didn't
the
yeah, it
and
was
the
like,
flame was there.
yes.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Well, so the back to the Christmas, I wanted to share that um, the colors, the gold and the white, um, are on the green background of the tree because the evergreen represents color all year, or it remains green all
Constant,
year,
constant.
symbolizing eternal life. And the white lights cover the tree, symbolizing Jesus is the light of the world. And we carry that light. So those are some things that I had not thought about before.
Well, and the fish symbol. Have you discovered what the fish symbol means? I wonder about that.
I did. The fish also represents Jesus' call to Peter and John to follow him and to take up their new assignment as fishers of men. But the fish also represents Jesus, the Son of God. And just what Scott put in the chat, the Greek word for fish is ichthys, and in the Greek language, it is spelled IXO with a line in the middle, YC. These letters are an acronym representing the first letter of 5 Greek words that in English mean Jesus, Christ, God's Son, Savior. And it was a way for early Christians who were subject to persecution. They used the symbol of the fish that they would draw it in the sand or in the dirt to identify themselves as Christians.
Like the cross with the X in it. So that is an interesting symbol, I
And
thought.
and that interesting looking at the information about the different Christmas. I thought there would be okay, there's 24, there's 35. No, I don't think we know how many there actually are. But there are um, at least 10 different cross ornaments. Um, there's there's a Celtic cross. There's a Cairo Greek symbol for Christ. There's crosses of crucifixion. There's the what they said the original cross, the Latin cross, um, resurrection cross. I'm going to try somehow. I'm not sure how we can do this to put the information together so that it could be shared. maybe I could put it together as a bulletin insert. I'm not sure. I'd have to talk to Teresa and see if we can get her to do that for us. But it's so interesting, and to see the pictures of the different crosses, and then there's probably 5 or 6 different kinds of stars, and they each represent something different. The butterfly, and I don't think we have butterflies on ours, but it represents the resurrection, the 3 stages of the butterfly's metamorphosis symbolize the life, the death, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So if we think about what it is, and we dig in here deep enough, then we will know what the meaning is. So I hope this has been interesting, talking about the Chrismons. Like we said when we started, it's a strange word until you realize that it is the combination of Christ and monogram. It's the monogram of who Christ our Savior is.
And in sharing this tradition with others, there are many new faces in our congregation over the last few months. It's important that we share the meaning of our traditions rather than it just become something you do without thinking. So sharing our faith traditions is very important, and I'm so glad to know we're going to be doing that.
Yes, I am too.
It's inclusive. It draws people in.
And the more people we have involved with us, with church, the more involved they will be sharing the love of Christ with others. And Debbie, our time is up.
Oh no. And we have so much more to talk about, I'm sure.
We're not done sharing yet.
Well, we'll save it for next week.
We'll save it. Have a blessed week, everybody.
And
Thanks
I hope
for joining.
I hope you can all join us again next week.